Good morning and welcome to Morning Movie News, where we now live in a world where Logan is officially rated R. We all knew this was coming, but adorably yesterday James Mangold gleefully tweeted out that it is indeed official. He's like, woo! Check on his box of making his movie a success. I think he has some making up to do for the Wolverine, but I do know that some of you enjoyed it. But it's not what Logan is supposed to be. But anyway, he tweeted, official! Please be advised, I love this, that Logan has been rated R for, quote, strong, brutal violence. I like that they had to add the brutal from the MPAA. They're like, this isn't just regular violence. And all X-Men fans are like, yeah. And language throughout. I think they're overdoing it a bit on the language, but I'm glad they're so excited to be an R-rated movie. And then also, this was a pleasant surprise for brief nudity. Fingers crossed, they're talking about Hugh Jackman. I can't imagine who else they'd be talking about. Maybe there'll be some experimentation going on. But since it's largely experimentation with kids, I don't think that's where it's going to be. And also, Hugh Jackman has been naked before as Wolverine. He streaked in X-Men Origins Wolverine, which caused my entire theater to laugh out loud, not in a good way. He kind of like jumped the shark, the naked shark with that. I think people were like, officially this movie's not good at that moment. But then also he had a little bit of nudity, very quick PG-13 nudity in X-Men Days of Future Past. So I guess because of the R rating, he'll walk around a little bit naked. I don't know. I mean, you're not going to see anything like full frontal nudity because with guys, I don't know if they're not going to do that because kids are going to go. But I guess they've got a little bit of eye candy for the adults. So we'll see. Fox has to walk a very fine line here because kids go to these movies. As many of you told me when you went to see Deadpool, because I went to the press screening, I didn't see it with the general public. A lot of people brought kids, and a lot of people walked out with kids, particularly at the International Women's Day moment, which I'm not surprised about. I think Deadpool crossed a line, and as you might recall, I felt they should have a PG-13 version because they were aggressively advertising it for children. They told kids to go watch the Red Band trailer, ask their mother's permission, and then Deadpool said he'd added a dalliance with your mom, and I was like, that's a weird choice. And then, Ryan Reynolds went on the Today Show saying, I went to see a lot of R-rated movies when I was a kid, and I turned out fine, but obviously a lot of parents didn't agree. But the movie did amazingly well. But I think that because all the X-Men movies have been PG-13, Deadpool, Deadpool, the comics are, I guess some of you would argue they shouldn't be all ages, but a lot of them over time have been. Not now, they're rated mature, some of them. But, he's in the Lego games. Deadpool has been exposed to kids. But even more so with Logan, he's been in a number of X-Men movies over the years that are PG-13. So I can see a lot of people taking their kids to see Logan, even more so than Deadpool. So they're not going to go too crazy. I think people are a little bit more sensitive with rated R elements when it comes to sexuality and sex. So that's why Deadpool ran into some problems, but I think historically people have had no problem with violence, all through the years, Terminator, Rambo, etc. So I think Logan is in a good place in that position. So anyway, I think this is good that they had the official R rating. I think Logan has run a little off the rails with its advertising campaign the last week or so. I think the second trailer, while very good, took some of the luster out of its awards image that it was trying to craft, with the first trailer. Although one of you, I think, very brilliantly said, using Johnny Cash in your trailer as the music is cheating, and I think to some degree that's true. That's why I didn't like the music choice for the second trailer, because it didn't have the same effect. And then also, they had it at it's debuting at the Berlin Film Festival. But then the second trailer seemed more of like a typical X-Men movie, like a very good X-Men movie, maybe the best X-Men movie ever made, but still an X-Men movie. But then, even more so, the timeline comments that came out over the weekend have been disruptive, and James Mangold has worked to lock that down, shut it down. Hugh Jackman said something that implied that perhaps this was an alternate timeline, which gave them room to play. And James Mangold was like, no, it's just 5 years later, so we don't have to worry about any other movies. We don't have to worry about matching any other films. This is 5 years after the end of X-Men Days of Future Past, when Hugh Jackman rejoins his timeline and, sees that he's changed things. So I guess that you could technically change things going forward. But the reason that I think James Mangold is worried about this is that if it's an alternate timeline story, that takes out a lot of the oomph, right? I mean, if it does, it means it doesn't really matter. Because, it's like this happened off on a side universe. It's not affecting the main storyline. And Logan Logan's supposed to have some finality to it. But if it's just an alternate timeline, that's removed. So I think that's why James Mangold was like, whoa, Hugh Jackman misspoke or you misunderstood him. This is what's really going on. So we'll see how Logan continues to take shape. I'm so excited about it, but it's interesting to see Fox, they're in the golden era of their R-rated X-Men movies. And, Deadpool did materialize with the Oscars this morning, but still, it got Golden Globe nominations, and it's new territory that they're in, and so of course they're going to make some mistakes, but it's exciting. Also, as a bonus, I had some of you ask me why the TV spots for Logan have X-23's claws rendered in the store, and my belief is because that's all they're showing. They wanted to make sure they got claws in there, but they didn't need to do it for the trailer, because they wanted to just get that out. But if you're only going to show the store, they're like, we better put some claws in here. I think that's the issue. Also, I think in the trailer, come to think of it, the way the second trailer played, they wanted that reveal to be when she's going up to Boyd Holbrook and he's like, no. They wanted the claws to come out right then for maximum effect, and it worked. Now, the second story of the day is an update on The Predator, the new Predator movie that Shane Black is directing. I looked into this because I did a Green Lantern video yesterday about casting, and Keegan Michael Key was someone I suggested for Jon Stewart, and one of you pointed out that he has been cast in The Predator as well. And I was surprised because I had missed that story. It came out January 6th. I looked it up, and that's right after the holidays, but it didn't get a lot of coverage. It wasn't a huge headline, and that makes me very concerned. If I were Keegan Michael Key's agent, I'd be like, how much did Keanu hurt you, man? Like, why didn't this get more headlines? But anyway, Predator is quietly taking shape, so I thought we'd take a closer look at it. Now, I don't know if you would think they were going to reboot it Nolan style, right? Or revisit it Nolan style, more realistic, go a little Kong Skull Island. But it seems like an easy job, right? But Shane Black never does easy. So he's actually redoing this, get this, as a movie that takes place in a suburban setting, right? So they're having the Predator go to the suburbs. I don't know why they're doing that. It gives me like flashbacks, not in a good way, to Jurassic Park 2, at the ending of Jurassic Park 2. But I do like Shane Black quite a bit, although, he had Iron Man 3 was like easy, to talk about easy. But even that he messed up, right? Annoying a lot of fans. But it did very well at the box office, although you can see he was right back to his usual low box office numbers with The Nice Guys. So I hope he can do Predator and not mess it up. But anyway, we already knew that it stars Boyd Holbrook, who took over because Benicio del Toro, the deal didn't work out. Darn it. He's going to be in Star Wars. So anyway, and then Trevante Rhodes we knew was in it. And then also Olivia Munn. There's a lot of guys. Olivia Munn is the only woman cast so far, and that's typical for Shane Black. He doesn't pick the greatest female leads, and the characters aren't particularly well written outside of The Long Kiss Goodnight. He just doesn't have a good relationship with female characters, which is frustrating because he writes such good dialogue. I'd love to see him create a great female character, but I just don't think it's ever going to happen because of stuff going on with Shane Black personally. So anyway, Keegan Michael Key, but then also I was surprised to see that Sterling K. Brown is in the Predator movie. That guy's agent is on fire. Way to capitalize on the moment, right? And then also they're in talks to sign Thomas Jane. I wouldn't want Thomas Jane anywhere near my movie. He has a horrible track record at the box office. He's done okay in television, but that does not spark confidence in a film, right? They're going to begin shooting next month in February in Vancouver for a 2018 release. And I'm curious, they have a very diverse cast. In fact, I would say it skews actually, African American. And I wonder what the play is. I wonder what the story is. It's very, very interesting. Although when you cast someone like Thomas Jane and Olivia Munn, I don't want to see Fox go lowbrow with not only Alien Covenant, but also their new Predator movie. It's like, come on, you guys. These are highbrow films. You got to make more of an effort. All right, so the third story of the day is that just as I predicted, none of you sent me this story yesterday, but I predicted that Margot Robbie was going to cast not a name actress as Nancy Kerrigan in her I, Tonya movie because clearly she wants this to be all about Margot Robbie. She doesn't want to risk that anybody else get attention for her film. So sure enough, she's cast she's producing this, so she's cast it. Caitlin Carver has signed to play Nancy Kerrigan. And to Margot Robbie's credit, she does look an awful lot like Nancy Kerrigan. However, she's only been in Paper Towns, who remembers that, her role in that. Rules Don't Apply. I don't remember her in that either. And then she's done some television, NCIS and Timeless. And I think that Margot Robbie is playing a dangerous game here, all or nothing. Sebastian Stan rounds out the cast. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, this does not seem like a strong awards contender. And Craig Gillespie, her director, has had a rut. I mean, he's coming off of Fright Night and The Finest Hours. And I think that she's making a mistake personally because she's not building a case that this is an awards movie. I know it's risky that she might not get nominated, a Mark Wahlberg situation with The Fighter where it went to Melissa Leo, it went to Christian Bale, but not him. But at least she'd be in an Oscar-nominated movie. At least she'd produce an Oscar-nominated movie. That would be encouraging. But I think here, now, I think it's looking weak, actually. I mean, her performance would have to be so amazing to overcome this picture that she's putting together. You guys had some great casting ideas for Tonya Harding the other day. Anne Hathaway, and then also Jessica Parr from Mad Men, who played Don Draper's final wife, Megan. I think that would have been a great idea, and she would have... Both of those actresses would have made this a stronger production. I think that the Tonya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan scenes are going to be important, and I think Margot Robbie has given herself a really low bar opposite her, and she hasn't challenged herself. And I think, we'll see if maybe people even notice that, the awards voters, and that hurts it. All right, so the viewer question comes from Tyler Grimes, and Tyler Grimes says, Grace, do you think that the studio should push James McAvoy for an Oscar nomination next year for his role in Split? No, and let me explain why. Awards contenders, mainstream fare that's been awards contenders in the past has been Avatar, The Dark Knight, Mad Max, Fury Road, and, Deadpool tried this year, but no cigar. But each of those films was groundbreaking. Deadpool was groundbreaking, and the breaking the fourth wall, the way it was marketed, the way it came to be, the ownership that Ryan Reynolds in particular had of the project. It was very different. The Dark Knight changed the superhero genre forever. Avatar was the most successful movie of all time. Clearly, all these movies, I think, also clearly struck a nerve with audiences. And Mad Max Fury Road also elevated the genre even further. It had an artistic quality to it. M. Night Shyamalan, he's very good at making up twists, but I don't think he's a particularly, cinematic director or even a writer. I think there were lots of holes in Split. Also, as I said with Logan, the only thing that might save Logan at this point, I think, is if the Professor X theory is true, that he's imagining Professor X, or Professor X is a telepathic ghost in his head, which would be borrowed from the Old Man Logan storyline, where Emma Frost, that's what Emma Frost did. She was just telepathically in Logan's head, Old Man Logan's head. But also you'll notice that Avatar and Mad Max still got no acting nominations. So even if Split was recognized as some kind of, Oscar-worthy movie, it would be hard for the acting to be recognized. Now, when you think of Ryan Reynolds, Heath Ledger, Jack Sparrow, they really connected with fans. They were massively popular, inspired cosplay and, tons of imitations. I don't see that happening with James McAvoy in Split. So Split doesn't have any of those qualities. But you know what? There are lots of ways to be rewarded for your work in Hollywood. And of course, one is box office success. And of course, they have James McAvoy is achieving that, and so is M. Night Shyamalan and Jason Blum, who produced, and Universal, who distributed. So I think that while I don't think James McAvoy, I don't think it's worth pushing him for Universal to push him for award season next year, he's going to move up in the industry. Just look at Sterling K. Brown. Well, he got a lot of awards nominations, but look how much, he's on everyone's short list now. And, I don't think James McAvoy is as hot as Sterling K. Brown, but I think, because, he actually was nominated and won awards, but I think James McAvoy is the next category down. So James McAvoy is going to get new respect in Hollywood. He's going to get new access to people and projects, and he's going to have power because, he has some pull. He has a larger success factor now personally. So I think that's what James McAvoy has gotten out of Split. And people like you thinking he should be nominated. So that's great for his career. Getting the fanboy support should not be underestimated because fanboys will push you in media and online for your other projects. As for films like mainstream fare that might be awards potential, I think right now we're looking at maybe Wonder Woman because of the cultural importance of it being the, first female superhero, the first major female superhero, Patty Jenkins' involvement because she comes from Monster, and then also Beauty and the Beast because of Emma Watson and how hard they've worked with the production design, etc. It really is a beautiful production. So I think at the very least it could be nominated in those categories for production design, etc. All right, so that's today's morning movie news. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please write down below what you think of today's top 3 stories, Tyler's viewer question, anything you'd like to see covered tomorrow, and any questions that you might have. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye.